Did anybody hit it big last night?
Brown.
Brown, you did?
We didn't do bad.
We didn't do bad.
Till 7 o'clock this morning.
Did anyone jump in the wrong swimming pool naked? Nobody did many sides. Anybody make CNN? The trifold program is mostly for amusement and any keepsake value. We're winging it tonight. A lot of things went off schedule, and Mr. Stephen Bassett could not make it. He was going to speak, things like that. No big deal. Dick will be shooting as we go. He's got this thing cross-haired on my forehead. He's doing roving shots with this thing.
What are the Torah people going to do?
I don't know. I need a Chinese restaurant. I mean, so because of this video coverage, if any of you have political aspirations, now's a good time to leave. We're not, this was done on the cheap, as you know, low rent, low budget production here. We have nobody, Donna was worried we're gonna, have somebody jump out of a cave naked. No strippers, either gender. Dick offered to shoot just with his new Speedo on, but we thought it would take away from the ambiance. First of all, we have two new beautiful brides with us. So if you didn't meet them last night, tonight you're going to discover the southern charm that is Donna with Tony and Maria that is with Dick. Days from now they'll be wondering what the hell we were talking about and whether they're going to hear it in the future.
Well, they will ask questions, I'm sure.
Next, I'd like to recognize Fred and Hilda, the proud parents of Sergeant Jay Iverson. I'm glad you've been reading all those emails going back to before Christmas. Whose son Jay took part to the 4th ID in the capture of Saddam Hussein and all his entourage, whatever he had in that little hamlet, cooks and clerks and church.
He had a bunch of Campbell soup.
I think we did send a Campbell soup.
Suffice to say, Jay will forever be tied to American military history, Army history. And if you didn't know, Jay is the younger of the Iverson sons. He was in the Indiana National Guard, and he opted to go back. He was prior service. He opted to go back from the Guard to the active component. He wanted to go with the best, which he did. And certainly what he did stands tall, and as they say, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. So Jay has made his family proud and all that know him. So we welcome you and we salute Jay's accomplishments. Now on a lighter ceremonial note, that's what it says here. We recognize those former battalion officers that are making their very first reunion / muster. Would Dana, Dean, and Obi please rise?
You get to pick up the Bible.
Idaho.
Mom doesn't come to Mohammed. That's the way it is.
Simon didn't say to sit down. As it is deeply steeped in custom and tradition with this band of brothers, those that have their first occasion with us have to take part in the singing of the 4th Army Division.
I've done this one.
Blake will lead you. Blake is the maestro. Blake is the only officer in the battalion that ever knew the lyrics.
And why?
He used to sing it at poker games, you name it, baseball games. So
There was a lot of call for it.
when Blake is ready, Blake will give you the cue. There's a little music out there.
Well, we'll hear first, guys. They'll play through it with the band, and then the choir will start singing, and we'll sing along with the choir, okay?
You will pay for this.
And I'll
Revenge will be ours, right?
Closest so we can get started.
Get closer so we can get you all in there. You're not finished, you used to be.
up.
Dean, you can't say with your hand in front of your mouth there. Keep your hand
You
up.
ready?
I can't hear it.
They can't hear it.
Doesn't matter. Turn up your hearing aid.
Oh, wait, oh. Now. Nobody's home. Nobody's. We fought for victory against our mighty foes. Now we stand for peace, ever alert. Armored men of children, nobody's alone. Great job!
Let the video and the record reflect these gentlemen will not be known by their singing award. This Flag Glee Club has no shot at Carnegie Hall. At this point, I will turn it over to the Toastmaster.
All right, now.
Gentlemen, propose a toast to the ladies.
All gentlemen rise.
Ladies!
Ladies. They're here.
Okay. Gentlemen, I'd like to propose a toast. 24th Engineer Battalion.
24th Engineer Battalion. Choke chicken.
And to all, I'd like to propose a toast to the 16th Engineer Battalion.
16th Engineer Battalion.
Catamounts.
Stinking cats. Black cat.
To the greatest corps, I would like to propose a toast to the Corps of Engineers. Say on.
Engineers.
That's the honor.
No, Jerry. You're next.
Oh, it's me. I was talking about CRS and craft.
We need to go.
To the United States Army.
To the United States Army.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to propose a toast to the United States of America.
United States of America.
Ask for water and a drink. Sit down, relax. The hors d'oeuvres are arriving, and it is time for Mr. Art Schuster to offer a
These are standard toasts. Military functions. Those are very common.
You'd take a moment to join me in prayer. We offer this prayer to our Heavenly Father. We offer first our thanks for the many blessings of our lives. This world is your creation, and our very existence a gift of your grace. As we survey our lives, we express our gratitude to the legions who have gone before us, our brothers who stand with us, and the generations who come after us, preserving that freedom which you have generously provided. Let us never take that freedom for granted, but guide us always with your great commandment to love one another as you have loved us. We offer now a prayer for our Commander-in-Chief, soldiers, sailors, and for their families everywhere. While we enter this petition for peace, we commit our pledge, body, mind, and soul, against the forces of evil until they are subdued completely. Now as we bless this food for the nourishment of our bodies and ourselves to your service, we ask your blessing on our fellowship. May we persist in the name of your Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Art. We are going to just relax, enjoy our meal, and later on we'll have some other amusement. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tony. Happy birthday to you.
Well, there's 57 here.
I was looking around here, with the exception of the women in the crowd, I think I might be the baby. so much. I gotta blow these out, man.
We look face off. Turn around, Tony. We don't want to see.
Been a horse's ass for years. Just the front side.
Let's get it all out. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Girls have to line up for kisses.
Oh yeah, now you're talking. That's a lot of smoke.
That's a pretty cake.
Very nice, thank you. Very, very nice. All right, who wants big pieces? Who wants a corner piece? You gotta take your piece first. Take my piece. Who's my lovely wife?
Oh, see, now I never do that.
He needs assistance.
He needs assistance. Clever, did you think that?
No, you're fine.
We want big pieces or little pieces? Big pieces. All right.
We can't leave until that is eaten.
How many, Jim, how many pieces did you cut into?
That's right.
We have to eat it all.
Basically, it was like,
I'm an engineer, right angle. Right angle.
right when I got there, right away. If I had another kid, it would have been about the rest.
And you made a wish you would win as much money as Harold did.
All right.
26 out of 53. You almost came. You didn't.
Mario, you know how your red, white, and blue turned into green and blue? That's blue, and then green, the little green. No,
She retired. Each other got to go all the way.
She was the only just like,
He did some input for that.
just like if I need to tell
let's go. There you go. Let's go.
Is that Justin?
I thought that several of them, man. When I saw how many retirees
Are you an expert or what?
Should be a fine for not bringing Harold's material.
You're gonna make one. Alright, I got a bunch of small ones. He's got some small ones.
What are we talking about?
There you go. Well, not even smaller. How many more? How many more? You guys got any? Who does not have cake? Raise your hand, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got this. Come on, man. I'm an
Everything just goes on top of it. Can't have it all. Take it out. And you didn't know you had to yeah, you get it. Finish, yelling bag. And I just realized, you know exactly where it is. And you just, when you finish, you just throw it in there and finish. I put it on.
Now you told me, I didn't remember that you told me before.
Hey.
Same here.
I got some issues. I got to talk to her.
both of those places. The division office in Portland. There's a district in Seattle. Okay. Big district in Seattle. Just a mile and a way.
LA companies down there.
Yeah, Mike. Remember Mike?
What's up, Ziegler?
Mike Dean came to last one.
Yes,
Mike, there's the Corps of Engineers still on the Spain side. He's in charge of all the railroads for the United States Army. Their tracks or something. He stayed over in Germany for a while. Yeah.
I think he's just a.
He must have been. Yeah, he must have come over. Because I worked for Mike for a while.
This was at my house in Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You've been to that house.
Yeah.
And I
We had
have
a
pictures.
similar picture.
I still have pictures of Eric. I got a little piece of it. She was born.
But it is, we'll get rolling. Don't believe the rumor that the revisionists are already starting to change the name, the nickname of the state from the Bay State by merely substituting the first letter. Let me now try to recover from that fall. Okay. It's moving to see these two gentlemen traveling with their better halves. Traveling with their better halves to come here and potty. Speaking of potty, if you need to go to John, that black aisle all the way down, you take that black sidewalk all the way down and take a right, and there's where the restrooms are. And feel free to infiltrate out. Just remember, men, do not come back in, you know, with the fly in the Monica position, because you'll buy a round if you forget that. So, here we are to reunite and more pointedly to celebrate friendship and particularly these two outstanding patriots. Is that for the friend part or the patriot part?
Yeah, let me repeat that.
We'll start with Jerry. No, we won't start with Jerry. No, we won't. Jerry. Isn't he looking like Telly Savalas? Remember the series Kojak? What a Greek god.
Oh, goddamn great.
And I will say again, the man that saved my life in Vietnam. Jerry was one of a very few handful of engineer rangers to grace our battalion. And you know, he didn't go to jump school. Gina reminded me of that. Gravity being what it is. Tony's, as you all know, now an Army executive and a reserve colonel like some of us other bums, who you all know I taught to soldier in his impressionable beginnings in the heavy equipment platoon, while I went on EX runs, read Playboy in my office, and chased women. And on the ladder, Tony would eventually acquire that skill set.
Give us the cue into ladder.
Wait a minute, the bun sign? The bun sign? First, now Jerry. Okay, we'll start Jerry. I pick on Jerry quite a bit. Why? Because he never disappoints me with material. And it's fun. It all started in 1969 when he got to Germany with his beautiful young bride, Jean, and he went out and ordered a 4-door Alfa Romeo. Jerry was the only officer in the 4th Army Division that had a 4-door Alfa, and they didn't have kids yet. Few of you realize the legend and myth that is, the myth breaker that is Jerry Battalion in the service to our country. Here's a guy that left Johnson Barracks before the heat started. He got out of there before all the tension and strife, only to end up living in a villa in Vinh Long, Vietnam, with a shower, with a kitchen. Unbelievable.
Penicillin.
While drawing per diem. During this first war, he drew per diem, besides hostile fire pay. Per diem. So he goes home with a ton of loot. He buys Jeannie a nice house in the northern burbs of Boston, and eventually a cottage, a beautiful Cape Cod. He finagles a branch reassignment from the Corps of Engineers to the Medical Service Command, Medical Service Corps. And an adjusted data rank that will allow him to stay on the payroll into the new millennium. He never commands a thing. He never commands a thing. When he was getting ready to come back from Kuwait, Karn sends me an email. Jim, I want to get, Jerry, no, tell me what he commands over there. I said, Julian. The only shot he had was to command the family unit, and Jeannie wouldn't let him. He stays in the same medical unit, the same staff headquarters, the same position, and he just shatters the myth that you have to command and have varied staff assignments to make full colonel. It is truly unbelievable. Backtracking a bit. Now, Jerry managed to scale the heights of the Environmental Protection Agency, where he's done well, and just as he was, hitting that glass ceiling, reaching the top, he gets called up for the first Gulf War. Where did he go? Walter Reed. Stayed in a luxurious hotel. And guess what? More per diem. So he got through that, then 3 years ago they hand him 06, that's what we call full colonel, us guys are in this stuff. They hand him full colonel on a plane. And they had him at that point. They had him, and he went off to Kuwait to go to Camp Doha and support Operation Iraqi Freedom. But that was in air-conditioned facilities. Okay? He only made one quick trip to Baghdad. Did a quick U-turn, got back, and then he connived his way to get home before Veterans Day. But this...
And that's a combatant tour.
And this broke his streak. He does not bat 1,000. At Camp Doha, they would not give him per diem. General Patton truly had an expression for guys like Jerry. Goddamn medics. Back to Jerry's acquisition skills. Bear with me, it's 14 of these. We're not even at the first quarter yet. Jerry also distinguished himself in Kuwait by shipping home to Jeannie a Persian rug the size of a face towel that he paid $1,000 for. Oh, that's fine, I'll take that one. It wasn't the color Jeannie wanted at all, right? Not even close. Not even close. But it was, it was the talking about it. And there is truth in the rumor that the vendor that sold it to him kissed him. Time and time again, Jerry has proven over the years of defending freedom, he has no business shopping for anything but it. Before Jerry deployed, his first grandchild, Michaela, was born, but he didn't get to hold her and see her because he shipped out. So that reunion happened when he got back. He was very serious. He went to Fort Drum, duty called, and after he fudged his PT test, he shipped out. Speaking of duty, many of you know that when Baghdad fell and we started staging troops in Kuwait, those camps and stations were mobbed. And Jerry would soon face a real serious problem. There were lines for porta potties. Tons of troops and no facilities. Jerry would email Tony and I and say, I got this problem. You know, the Kuwaiti civilians, the local nationals are stealing all the toilet paper, and all the enlisted guys beat me to the Johns in the morning. Jerry had a real crisis. So Tony and I sent him boxes and boxes and boxes of wipes.
Wipes.
And he specified that he wanted moistened ones.
Perfume.
I cleaned up the Belmar PX.
In the manner to which he was accustomed. I super glued the Ranger tab to the plastic refill box. I super glued the Ranger tab so it would help him distinguish himself from those other service corps officers. Guys, you just can't make this stuff up. So, you know, war has its hardships, and he asked that, you know, I do something about roughage. He had no roughage. So with these wipes, I sent boxes and boxes of razors. Think about it, an Army Ranger of Greek ethnicity, or ordinarily any Greek leaf would do. This guy had to have wipes. So much for This Is Your Life, Jerry. I'd love to roast you. You're a lovable target. We're all glad you're back. We appreciate your sacrifice. We appreciate your friendship, your service. Don't start crying on me. Speaking of service, I'd be remiss if I didn't plug Jerry's first book to be released shortly. How I Served in Uniform Longer Than Omar Bradley. Jerry had a speech prepared, but he accidentally left it in the airport bathroom where he last rehearsed it. I will introduce Jeannie, a great Army wife who trusts a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, a compatriot and someone that we respect for what he did, Jerry Battalion. Well, Jerry, I'll tell you what. We didn't want you to go away home empty-handed. So, your fellow brethren, come on. So, your fellow brethren officers thought we would get something appropriate for the occasion, and I'm quite sure this will come in handy. Jerry?
Hold your wife.
Thank you.
Take it out all
They're not moistened, I'm sorry. Oh, I'll try not to get tongue-tied through this next one. Then there's Anthony Francis Lakita, our birthday boy, who I finally called chief from way back in 1970. Tony was our master of ceremonies, as you remember those over there, 1998. And at the time he was single, he just received orders to go to Atlanta. He got accepted into the senior executive service, and little did we all know what his destiny would be, meeting his beautiful wife Donna, and the professional challenge of his life, that is going to Iraq. Not Donna. Donna smacks him in when he starts acting important, believe me. You've probably noted my whack at him in the program. I take every chance I can at whacking Tony. He's a Massachusetts native who adores the Yankees. I'm an upstate New York guy who follows the Red Sox. We've been sparring for years and years and years. And you know who's on the short end of that deal. Hey, no, I don't want to hear vertically challenged comments. And he absolutely, positively hates that non-combatant label I gave him in the program. And that's why I pursue it. For over 30 years, Tony has had to listen to us Vietnam veterans talk about the rigors that are war. He's had to, see our VFW membership cards. And worst of all, he's had to stare in awe at our right shoulder patches. For the benefit of you ladies, you spouses, as the Army likes to call you, the right shoulder patch connotes that you have been to combat with that unit, and you wear the patch proudly on your right shoulder, and forevermore you're regarded as a veteran and a combatant. More on that in a minute. Now that I've got it riled. However, all of us worried and afraid that Tony would arrive home safely from Baghdad? We all worried? Show of hands, everybody worried?
We're very worried.
How all of us afraid? How many prayed?
No problem here.
I know I did both because he owes me money right now. We have bet head-to-head Yankees versus the Red Sox. Currently I'm ahead, so that's why I wanted him to get it this season. We did bet $50 a game.
Yes, sir, whatever you want.
Whatever. See the cockiness, the arrogance. The arrogance. Back to worrying. Tony didn't help matters. Here's an executive tooling around the theater of operations wearing embroidered red Corps of Engineer polo shirts. Tony, you know it, 6'4", you don't go around the theater of operations wearing red polo shirts and expect us to believe you're anything but a non-combatant. I'll tell you what, let's put this issue to bed once and for all.
Sure.
Okay? John, where are you, John?
Yeah, right here.
Art, Harold, Fred, Jerry. I ask, did you carry a weapon 24/7 while you were in Vietnam?
Absolutely.
Did you receive hostile fire pay?
Absolutely.
A little help passing out these sensitive photos.
Classified documents. These can't leave the room.
This could be better.
John, Art, Harold.
This time I send you guys emails, that's it.
John, Art, Harold, Fred, and Jerry. I ask again as you closely examine this exhibit, does this look like a combatant in your expert opinion?
No way.
Hold your hands up if you want coffee.
I don't drink coffee, but I'll take a cup.
I get it all straight. Tony, not those hands.
Chief, you don't pose with a
Look
hurt.
under my left foot, by the way, if you want to see.
That's in my material.
Hey, you're
Thank you.
stepping in it.
Chief, you don't pose with a hurt sheet with your hands in your pockets, with sunglasses on, your left heel in sheep shit, and expect us to think your heart was pounding in fear and you were in harm's way. By the way, why were your hands in your pocket? I know this picture was taken after you were in country 5 months. Were you trying to subdue arousal?
Brutal. He's my friend, what can I tell you? He's great. He's godfather to my child.
Back to your spectator status in this war. I think we can ameliorate.
Spectator.
I think we can ameliorate.
Spectator status.
I'm positive we can ameliorate this situation. Last night the Council of
Fred, help me.
Veterans.
Fred, help me.
Last night the Council of Veterans, while people were seeing the sights, met in closed session. And decided you too should not go home empty-handed.
Not in my mind.
John, Art, Harold, Fred, and Jerry, I ask, given your expert consensus that clearly this tour was as a non-combatant, do I have your final clearance that we honorarily award Mr./Colonel Akita an appropriate right shoulder patch as a token of our appreciation for finally deploying to somewhere hostile other than Johnson Barracks?
Yes, the right way to do it. Look for help here, Fred. I'm looking for help. Fred, you get it fast, Freddy, the kid from
Is
out
that
of
spontaneity or what? Nothing choreographed about that. Tony, would you please stand and accept this warm gesture? Please. For all your comments, we have staffed this character to the Department of the Army And we came up with an honorary patch for each week you were deployed. Please understand, as they say back in your home state, this is from the hop.
Alright. I cannot see it. I cannot see it. I have no idea what it is. All wrapped, whatever.
Jim, what's the LIT stand for?
Oh, that smallest one?
Yes.
Maytag water heaters. EBC brakes. Kmart.
What's LIT?
Elvis, if you're out there, we'll find you. Pinkerton Special Service.
Wear those badges proudly.
Could
What
we
the
have
hell
a
this one is?
presentation here?
Kawasaki.
Tony, what's LIT?
LIT.
It's a red.
That's a special one. Now, you guys, you remember.
Lithuanian in theater.
No! Close! Close! Lithuanian in training!
Picture of Jim in that patch.
Yeah, you gotta present it there. There we
He
go.
didn't mention the cookie safari.
Proudly wear that.
Pass it around. Pass it around and enjoy it. Pass it around and enjoy it. My wife warned me vehemently not to go here, but I can't help myself. I have to digress from his sojourn in Iraq.
No respect.
I bet you all didn't know this. Tony is the original Lord of the Rings. God knows he's bought enough of them. Lawyers love
door.
Lawyer, kiss him, John. Lawyers love him.
The door if you may.
I gotta leave.
Well, Thursday.
And who warned you not to go there?
My wife. I can tell you this,
Listen to her.
third time is definitely the charm, and he has hit the lottery big time. Again, in no small part to his first company commander that taught him those skill sets.
This is slow learner.
Poor Donna, I'm cooked. But imagine the pressure, knowing how to go about the honeymoon, but not knowing how the hell to make it interesting.
What was he talking about? Me or you? Oh. I knew how to make it interesting. I knew.
Okay. Like I said, I'm off your Christmas mailing list. Anybody got a T-handle shovel?
No, you were on the Christmas.
Back to Port Donna, who
Give me a 4'2"
now
pretty quick.
wants a contract on my head. She moved from Atlanta last fall to Maryland. Most of you have probably heard that last night. She had unpacked the house by herself, and Tony deployed to Iraq. She started a new career field. It was compound problems for Donna, and she was the classic Army wife that said, "This will be done." Tony goes off. When he got back, emails are flying. I knew a day he was coming back. Tony lands. I don't hear slap. 4 days, 5 days, 6, 8 days. I emailed Donna. She emailed me back. She said, we talked, and she said he's at home. Catch him at home. So that's about the 9th day. Okay. And Donna had said, look, he's readjusting, he's decompressing. And I figured, hey, that's no big deal. You're sequestered, and then we're getting reacquainted, and then we're getting reacquainted. And reacquainted, and reacquainted, and reacquainted. Jerry, wake up, Jerry. Jerry, the question is, did you get that much welcome home sex when you got home? That's okay, if you don't remember, you can ask Jamie. You just called me an asshole under your breath. The last thing Don wanted to see was a muster in the desert. Tony just got the last of the sand out of his drawers and started to remember to flush the toilet. And here we are.
Leave your seat up, she said. she told me, she said, you know, one of the things that really attracted me about you is you never left the seat up. You're leaving the seat up. Put the seat down, she said.
Those are important things. It's important. I mean, executive should know this. Anyway, as the case was retreating, Donna
Just aim straight.
deserves a big round of applause for going through what she did and being there waiting for Tony. And that damage control you can do me split. As I did for Jerry, I'd be remiss if I didn't plug Tony's soon-to-be released memoirs, How I Survived Baghdad, by wearing boxing gloves to bed each night when I wasn't posing as a shepherd.
Oh, guys, killing me. He's killing me with laughter.
Of course, Chuck don't get that. What the hell are boxing? I mean,
This is how all the sheep were running away.
Tony, he picked out the ugly one.
So much for my early developed shots at my dear friend Anthony Francis. The payback is going to be hell. I'd like to share a quote from none other than General George S. Patton, Jr. as we collectively salute Tony's contribution to rebuilding Iraq. It says what some under intense conditions of war come to realize, and I would think what Tony came to experience these past 6 months. And I'll quote, all men are frightened. The more intelligent they are, the more they are frightened. The courageous man is the man who forces himself, in spite of his fear, to carry on. End of quote. Join me in saluting our dear friend, compatriot, true professional and American, our birthday boy, for his sacrifice, professionalism, service, and affording us a wonderful insight into the war with his great events. Welcome back. Do you want to speak now?
No, I'm going to give you a hug.
Stay up here, Tony.
Real more shit.
Pulling his pants up to indicate he's standing.
That's yours, Jerry. This is
How can
Tony's.
we tell?
This is Tony's. Far too often people go and do what you guys did, come home and don't get thanks. We wanted to thank you for the trip.
Very nice.
Can you move more to center stage? You're on camera.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Give me a belly hug. So
I gotta say something. I don't want to get all choked up.
Let me get out of your way.
When Saddam Hussein was captured, I learned that Freddie Iverson's kid had a part to play in that. And imagine the sense that a general calls you into the room, Tony, I got to talk to you about. And went behind closed doors. He says, "We got him." I said, "We got him." He says, "We got Saddam." And I was like, "Wow, that's great." He says, "You can't tell anybody." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so we didn't know when the announcement was going to be made. We didn't know whatever else, but we were sure we had Saddam Hussein. And the next day, I learned in an email that Freddie Iverson's son was part of the capturing party from the 4th Infantry Division. And Luke's, and Kolauskas. And I went around to all the meetings and said, guys, pronouncement, Bremer. I was in the meeting with Bremer, and I said, I got an announcement. I just want you to know. The guy that pulled Saddam Hussein's kid, the kid pulled Saddam Hussein out of the sun was the kid of a guy that I was a captain in Germany so many years ago. And I was so proud. I just beamed. And this is terrible.
Give some better wine than I thought you chose that house.
We all have children. All right, listen. We all have children, okay? And every day, I would walk through the gate, and it was an 18, 19, or 20-year-old Marine standing at that gate. And I knew that Marine, that maybe in 2 weeks, he was going to be in Fallujah, or he was going to be in Ramadi. He was going to be facing danger. And it didn't matter if they were boys or girls, because a very unique difference about this war was that girls were faced in equal danger as guys, as military policemen, or military police women, and they were out there in the front line. And so when I would go out the gate in the morning, and I would see the MPs at the gates, and I would marvel at my own son, who was 21, or Donna's son, who was 21, or any of your children, who are 20, 19, 20, 21, or your son, Fred. You know, I would say they're the heroes. Dick, shut the damn camera off, okay? And I didn't want them to experience what we all experienced. It was a tough time when we were all lieutenants and captains coming home from Vietnam, or we were coming home from Germany. You have to remember the young kids. We have to remember the 18, 19, 20-year-olds that every day put their life on the line for us. Today, we're over there putting their lives on the line. Now, Fred, you gotta be proud. And you gotta be proud of those boys. They're heroes. They're one of them. I didn't do squat. I went over there, I had guards all around me. I would go out, we would travel from the country, from the north to the south. These kids, these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids were out there every day. They're dying. And it's all because of us. And they're over there, they don't question. They're magnificent. Do not let Abu Ghraib in any way taint your thinking about the young kids, the heroes, everyone, men and women, the heroes. And I'm sorry for being so emotional, all the rest of it. It was a great tour. I wouldn't have traded it for anything in the world, but don't forget the troops. Don't forget the troops.
Well, we're going to shift gears. John is exactly right. Walking the strip last night, I ran into some trading cards. And Blake's going to pass them around, and if you see something that moves you and you want to swap, be my guest. They're not those things that little guys are flipping, you know. There's something for $49.
These are really valuable, right?
Trading cards. Couple per table.
These are really valuable, right?
These will be valuable someday. Hold on to them.
These will be valuable.
Pass them and trade them as you wish.
I got autograph.
Who did these?
No, not at all, not at all.
This is just too funny.
What's that? You can put that one up on the, you can put that, thank you.
Tony, did you want some coffee?
Carol and I haven't drank coffee in 17 years, but that's okay, it's all right. I'm sorry.
Good thing you didn't ask if you wanted sex.
No, I can't help it there. No, this one ain't gonna work. This one ain't gonna work at all. No, sorry. No, I don't know who came up with this Commonwealth Veterans for Kerry, but it ain't gonna work.
We will autograph it before it's all over.
Fred, can you hold it up so I can photograph it?
You got enough light?
Oh, that thing's $1.
Thank you.
Yep.
Chuck, where are you going?
See these?
They all
Well, I was the first one to sign. I didn't know you just wanted to put
Anybody's got any ideas?
What do you need, Chuck? How much?
Did you get his on the deal? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I did it. Anybody's got any ideas for us to get together in the future? Spots, locations?
We were out, we were looking at a site for the,
Tony, as an attorney, I didn't tell you, you don't have to tell this story.
I'm gonna tell.
And
I gotta tell the story about the sheep.
There's criminal offenses against sheep, Tony.
I gotta tell you the story. We went to Kirkuk and we were reconning a site for a new Iraqi Army base. And we pulled up to this was actually the old site. This was the original site that was, and I realized that in Kirkuk, it's a heavy sheep herding population. And there are lots of sheep, and that's what they do is and I wanted to get my picture in with the sheep. I was going to say, I'm going to get it out there, I want to get in the middle of the sheep. So I got out of my expedition, and
Expedition?
that's what I had.
Okay.
I had
Air-conditioned expedition.
air-conditioned and
Air-conditioned
unarmored expedition. Very unarmored expedition. And I jumped out, and there were all these sheep. And so I decided I'd go in the middle of the sheep. So I turned around behind me and I started walking towards the sheep. Well, if you look at the picture, all the sheep are going the other way. As soon as I started walking backwards, the sheep going, and they're running away. And I'm like, and I had this executive officer who was a captain that worked for me. I'm like, Rich, snap the picture. And I'm like, and they go, and running away. And I'm moving backwards. I'm trying to get behind them. The next thing I know, I step back and I'm like, all right, take the picture. And then take the picture. And I'm standing in the sheep shed. So I keep John 71.
Would somebody tell the story about a lieutenant in Bravo company being grilled on about Mickey Mouse boots and socks?
Lieutenant Norwood.
Do you mean Arnold Blake Norwood?
I think it was some general that was a nemesis
Well, that
of...
same general got me too.
Oh, yes. he did.
On a field exercise. He looked at my sideburns that were somewhere down below my earlobes and he said, because he pointed his finger in my chest first, he said, "You see mine? You get yours looking like these and keep them that way. Got it?" Jesus, then I go in Technicolor.
Jim, that was similar to mine.
Somewhat similar.
Myra and I had just been in country for less than a week.
We don't want to hear the defense first. Tell the story.
That's part of the story, though, unfortunately. And we were still looking for housing. One of the good things that Carnes ever did was Julie Carnes got us housing before he shipped me off to Norway 10 days later. But we were going to Norway. We were part of the ACE Mobile Forces that, several countries that have exercise exercises throughout the world. And this time we were going up north of the Arctic Circle, and so naturally we had cold weather gear to get ready, because this is February here that we're there. And I come out here, I don't know which thumb to stick where. And so Chuck and the guys start, well, we're going, and you got to get your Mickey Mouse boots, and you got to get your parka, and we're putting special oil, in the engines, and we're putting engine warmers on. So things were very hectic and going on. They don't have much time for a new lieutenant who don't know much. But so my first week, and General Patton is coming to see us, and he's going to inspect the unit prior to it going up there. So Mickey, Julie's there, and here comes General Patton in his now famous little Saul 6 Jeep, without side curtains, without cover in the middle of winter. Of course, which if you ever caught any of us with side curtains or covers, that that was the enemy.
Windshield down, right?
Right, windshield down.
Windshield down.
So he rolls up there, and there's naturally this entourage of B Company, and Julie and Mauser were there, and so we were touring down through the motor pool, and I was just tagging along, walking along. All of a sudden, Patton wheels around, looks at me, Lieutenant, how many pair of socks do you wear with Mickey Mouse boots? I barely knew what Mickey Mouse boots were.
Well, tell the non-combatants who don't know.
Mickey Mouse boots are
Hey, I had not.
cold weather boots that made for low temperatures, and they are very, very warm. I didn't know. Yeah. So I say, in my best king of the bank answers, as my wife likes to call me, I say, approximately 2. God damn it, Lieutenant! You know approximately nothing! Like Jim, I go, and Leroy Mello, bless his heart, he steps in between me and it says, General, the lieutenant's only been here a week, and by this time I'm just... I also had my second run-in with him was about 6 months later. We were on the organizational readiness test out in the field. And we had been moving all around Bavaria. And it was late at night. Chuck and I were bringing our platoons in, and we were camping in this wooded area out there. And it's real dark. And we'd been sitting on the side of the road for, 2 hours, all of a sudden, anyhow, so Chuck, I said, well, let's ride up there and see what the hell's going on. We won't get in and get some sleep. We ride up, and we find Mickey. And Mickey says, yeah, I want you right here. So we go, and we're in the middle of the woods on these little dirt paths. So we get in our Jeeps, and my Jeep's the lead Jeep. And by now, it's full dark. And at night in the field, you have to run, without lights, so that you can't see. So we're smart enough to keep the lights on. But at night, when you're in the field like that, you're also supposed to ground guide. Somebody's supposed to be out in front of the Jeep so that you don't run over somebody else. Well, Chuck and I were in a hurry. So I stand up in my Jeep because I didn't have the top on or side curtain on. Like a good lieutenant. And I take my flashlight and I shine it out in front of us. And we're going along and we get up to where the hardtop road is. And there's a damn Jeep right in the road. I said, God damn. I tell my driver, who is loyal as the day is long and dumb as the day is long, I say, well, keep one wheel on the road and put one wheel in the ditch, and we'll just go by this Jeep. And so he goes real slow and he rolls that tire down in there. And about this time, I noticed right up beside me this hulking figure saying, God damn it, what's going on here? How come you're not in front of that Jeep? out in front of that Jeep, but it was like. Now that's my 2 run-ins with General Patton.
I got one. That was at the ORT of 70. Patton just got his start. You can still see where the Eagles were.
Yeah.
He canceled the ORT and started over. Remember that? He had the brilliant idea that there's 6 companies in a combination every time, and there's only what 3 colors in the 3 or 4 in the flashlight. He had the brilliant idea to have the blackout move. And I was in Bamberg. You guys were somewhere halfway between Bamberg and Nuremberg, and we had to leave at night. Radio silence. Remember that? Well, I had one any West Pointers in here? I had a West Point lieutenant, bomb, who couldn't read a map to see. How in the hell he got through Ranger School? I don't know. 2 stories. I sent him to find battalion headquarters. He came back 10 hours later, never found it.
In true A company tradition.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about when you guys had A company, but our radios never worked. We were half a day.
25.
Never worked. Miller was in a helicopter above us, yelling down at us. We're talking to him. So anyway, we take off, right? Baum is my lieutenant. Never leaves the road, guys. I'm stupid. Vietnam veteran company commander, leading. I'm not too smart, but the next time I never led my company. So I'm the lieutenant up there, sitting in the middle. So I'm leading the convoy. Missed the turn. You know those tracks, you can't turn around very easily without tearing up all the fuel. So we take a detour, go around this other town and get back down, and we show up and it's dark. Now you know the road that we used to take to go to Furth from Bamberg? Where we camped was someplace on the next turn off.
Right up on the hill, yeah.
Well, it was in a flat with all them trees. We show up in the dark, knocking trees over.
It's okay.
Yeah. The next morning, who was D Company commander whose wife had a baby? He wasn't.
Hunter.
Hunter.
Yeah.
His XO ran it. I think they're the only ones who passed. Didn't they? The rest of us flunked. I know I passed. We flunked, but I know we did. Anyway, the same thing. You got to go to this tent to meet Little Sorrow 6. G comes in.
Little Sorrow.
So I'm supposed to be task force commander. We show up. We luckily made it. We go over there, and of course he knew nothing worked on the radio. He says to me, "Captain, why don't your AM radios work?" I said, "Because they're deadline." "What radio?" I said, "ARG 19, whatever it was." Walk out of the door and I get about halfway back to my tent. I said, "Geez, I think I just gave him the speaker box." And I said, "That's stupid. Way more than I did." I think we all failed. You passed. D Company passed. I don't know.
Great story.
Tell the company that.
Headquarters company passed because of the XO.
5. I know 5. I'm not gonna get some change.
More stories, please. Anyone, more stories.
I have a story I'd like to share. This
Is it with levity?
with levity. No, it's really bordering on the.
Did it involve a fire extinguisher?
No.
Anything to do with fire extinguishers? Art and I want to know if there's anything to do with fire extinguishers in Art.
That fire extinguisher story is good enough that it ought to be on film and someone ought to tell it who knows it.
Well,
I heard it for the first time where I really paid attention last night, and that's a good one.
Well,
and since you're standing up there and you're the butt of the joke,
I tell you
someone
what,
tell the story.
somebody tell the joke because I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're not talking about the time. You're not talking about the time we had a frozen break on an ammo trailer.
No.
I don't know that joke.
Or a lark that sat down on the highway.
What?
A lark.
An arc?
Lark.
It was
Lark?
close to a
Sat
lark.
down on the highway.
It's an Art.
No, you're talking about the ark.
Amphibious river crossing equipment, Les Gillois. My company, Echo Company, that squashed a Simta.
Yes, sir.
That's right. That's the one.
That's the story.
What are you talking about? They climbed out the window.
That's when I arrived in the battalion, and they said, we squashed another one.
Why do you think I was the maneuver damage champion for so many months and had to teach driver training?
That's what it was.
I want to hear this story.
No, tell the story. Put the
Artie,
staff meeting camera on.
you're on, Artie.
Walk your way through this one. This is good.
Long ago and far away. We're sitting at a battalion executive meeting of all the company commanders and all the staff. And Mr. Carnes, our infamous colonel, turns to Mr. Walker on his turn and says, "Do you have anything to report?" And Lieutenant Walker says, "Who's going to pay for the fire extinguisher?" Carnes leans forward and says, "What fire extinguisher?" Lieutenant Walker says, "The one we used to put out the fire, sir." At this point, Carnes is ready. He's kind of leaning on the table. And he says to Lieutenant Walker, "What fire?" And he said, "The one in the comrade's car." Lieutenant Walker, "What car was set on fire?" Lieutenant Walker says, "The one we squashed." With that, the A Company commander says, "Sir, I need to get back to Bamberg. I'm out the door." Risky's left, trying not to laugh in the face of this adversity.
You should, for the benefit of the ladies, somebody should tell them what an arc is and what it.
Well, Tony should tell him since he thinks it's a lark. Which must be a Lithuanian version.
It's made from masonry.
Turn that camera around on yourself. It's the French version of an arc. That's all. It's a arc.
Or the non-combatant version.
It's all right.
Well, I can see I better get this tape out to you soon. Remember, shot to hell. That's not what happened at all.
Remember clearly.
I was new to the battalion and I came in there talking about arcs, squashing vehicles on the Autobahn. I'm like, what the hell are we talking about?
I didn't do anything.
All right.
Now, I'm going to tell the story from my perspective.
This is my first serious incident report. The Stinger and I were running a convoy. This is on the ORT. We had to go to, I think we had to go to Eltman first, and then we were north. We had, on the foggiest night I've ever seen, running a convoy that was over a mile long. Started off with a lowboy, a bulldozer, a crane, doing like this on the road. You remember that? Slowest vehicles up front.
Yeah, 25 miles an hour. And the piece of equipment that they're talking about is a bridge unit. We had 23 and a half of these units. Excellent. Run that up to the camera, which I have some pictures
So the
of.
last in the United States Army to have them.
Yes.
The last.
Yeah. So these were French designed, German built amphibious units that went this direction on the highway and that direction in the water.
French design, German built.
Les Gaulois is what the French called them after the general who designed it, right? So we've got 23 and a half of these, plus Jeeps, 36 wheel vehicles. I mean, we were over a mile long at 25, well, probably more like 5 miles an hour, going from one side of Bavaria to the other side, going to a new headquarters site. Well, in order to keep radio contact, I took my Jeep and driver up on a hill so we could communicate with everybody, right? So I get a call. No. We got all the way into camp. We set up, and like a foolish young second lieutenant, I allowed my sergeant, who was a little on the lazy side, to shut down the comm center that night and get some sleep. Well, the next morning I get a call over the radio when he comes back on. It's Carnes, meet me in Bamberg. So I hightail, I don't know what you're talking about. Meet him in I go to Bamberg, he just left, went to Johnson Barracks. I hightailed it down. We're talking miles, we're talking 30, 40, 50 miles, right? And I'm following Carnes all over northern Bavaria. And finally, when I get to his headquarters and catch up with him, he told me that one of my men went to sleep at the wheel, veered across the Autobahn, or the road, I'm not sure which road it was on, and ran over an American sergeant driving in a Simca. Fortunately, we were moving so slow, and the ARC's wheelbase was up about 3.5 feet off the ground, that it didn't smash at all. He was able to get out the window. Right? But Carnes is livid because he had to find out from the polling side. He didn't hear it from his company commander, who didn't know diddly squat about it in the first place, right? Well, obviously, I'm going to put it on film, Carnes. I'm sorry. What are you going to do to me, right?
All right, our story's better.
I'm more tolerant.
I remember our story.
Yeah, I know. I can't see the gray up here, Art.
We were there. Absolutely.
You know what my favorite Las Vegas pastime is? Celebrity watching. This town is lousy with them. Look, there's Sammy Davis Jr. Oh, and behind that palm tree, Frank Sinatra. Look, taking pictures of little tourists, Elvis.
Like I said way back, the only thing worse than watching a bad movie is being in one. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There he is again. Hey, Elvis. Well, that's all for now. I'm George Foreman, and I'll see you on the road.
I won't tell the story, but I'll make a commentary. Most of it for the benefit of the wives. In my little the tour, that I know it's hard to read, but there's a lot of stuff in there that will jog a lot of memories. Certain things that was part of our culture there. Military terms, acronyms galore. You'll see embedded in there if you ever get the time to go through it all. We had one hellacious time with racial unrest there. And I will say that Harold Brown, and I remember vividly, O.B. Harris, were put in the most awkward, uncomfortable situation that any commissioned officer could be in. You know, it was their burden. Carnes wanted to wave the magical wand. You know, and he wanted this problem to go away, and it was drawing attention, and there were UCR from Heidelberg, Germany, flying squads coming in to check out all this problem with racial unrest and unauthorized meetings and the whole thing that went on then. And more than anything, I just want you to understand it was tense. It could have ruined a lot of careers, and two officers amongst us handled it with a style and a grace and with objectivity, and was trying to do their jobs to the best of their ability, and they should be applauded.
Here.
I don't know, I sat on the General Court Martial Board, if you guys remember the racial problem in Holmesville in about 71, where they threw hand grenades from the 1st Infantry. I sat on that General Court Martial Board in Stuttgart as the only captain on the board.
I can't forget it because it's what we went through. Is I was staff duty officer one night, and we had a young West Point lieutenant, and he was an A company.
The obligatory ring knocker.
Steve Bever. and Steve Bever. You know, I was duty officer that night, and what I didn't know, there was this black guy. He had come from Vietnam, and he was an E5 when he came from Vietnam, and he had a problem with authority and this kind of thing. And evidently, he was a hero in Vietnam. I think he had a Bronze Star, you know, that kind of thing. And then, because he had a problem with authority, he kept getting Article 15s and reduced, and finally he was like down to about an E1 or something like that. We had a court martial that he was convicted for doing something, cussing an officer or something like that. And this guy's going to prison. He's going to prison for doing something. He has not done anything violent as we look at things today, but he's going to prison. So this dumbass lieutenant.
What's your real position?
So the guy, after the court martial, this guy is going to go straight to prison. But he brings him back to A Company, and the guy says, I want to go up to my room. And the lieutenant says, okay, go up to your room. He goes up to his room, and that's about 10 or 12 black guys up there. And the lieutenant, he's taking a long time, the lieutenant goes up, and he says, I'm not going anywhere. And I remember these words, you're going to have to come in here busting cap. That's exactly what he said to the lieutenant. So the lieutenant called the duty officer. He doesn't know what it means. And he said, oh God, I'm happy it's you. So I go up there. I go up to the room, and I'm talking to the guys, and they said, hey, Lieutenant Harris, we're sorry, but it's going to be busting cap. It's going to be bad news. And that started about 2 or 3 days of the most intense situation that you ever want to see. Of white guys with bunk adapters, getting ready to do battle in Johnson Barracks, a little quadrangle thing. Now remember, Sergeant Bedford or something like that with us also. And so we go for 2 or 3 days with this shuttle negotiation that's taking place all over Johnson Barracks. And we had this stack bar thing, troops would go up and buy things. And so it was the XO Mauser. It was me, Bedford, may have been you, Errol. But we were doing a shuttle negotiation. We were talking to these black guys up there. And there was a captain who came in, named Makita. And he came in, not in these negotiations, and he said, A Company, fall in over here. B Company, fall in over here. See, and I'm looking at this guy. This guy's crazy.
Non-combatant.
Now, I want to tell you what he did then was something special, because you know what happened? The A Company guys fell in over there. The B Company guys, and all of them fell in. And that was the end of the situation. So, that was something special.
Wonderful study.
But Obie, I have a question, sir. When was it that the supposed Molotov cocktail bounced off of Risky's car and didn't burst? When was that?
It was that same time.
How many of us had the windshield smashed? Me, Chuck, right?
Not me.
Everybody else. we had windshield smashed. We had, I think, Chuck, you got the record, though. You had more.
We could tell you stories that kind of go on and on.
Dodge Dart.
That the Purple People Eater. The Purple People Eater got hit with a Molotov cocktail.
Let's see, Sally and I are getting to the lady, Cleveland, Georgia company. We're the oldest, so that means we have to get our rest.
Right.
You're just going to the crap table.
Along with what Tony talked about, hey, ours that served. Well, I have a brother that was in Iraq like 2 months ago, and I have a grandson that just returned from 6 months TDY over there. So we're not paying them a whole lot of money to do what they're doing, but they're over there doing it for our sake, so that we can do this kind of stuff. We can reminisce, we can talk about what we did back in our day, but if you were really a ground pounder, you don't have to be an engineer, you can be anything you want. But if you were in the 24th and you came under Julian Carnes, Mauser, Wilson, and who else is there? Junkie, yeah. If you were under those guys, as a lieutenant and captains, you got good training, you got pretty good training, because we turned out to be pretty good people, I think.
Here.
No, we're not going to bed. We're just going.
I know what you're gonna do.
Yes, sir.
I would just
Don't
like to
get
say
paid.
that I have enjoyed my weekend, and it's been great to see all of you again, and we'll do this again, maybe down in our area, or at least we can get to Florida.
Art's in charge of it, so just call Art.
The house is big enough, we'll be there.
Okay? No need company.
We can make another stand at the Alamo. There you go. Free ice cream at Art's. Right?
No, it's been fun.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Good night.
Thanks for coming. Keep those emails coming now.
Okay. The good ones.
No.
They probably need to be vacating this room pretty quick.
They are.
Yeah, they're slowing down. Why don't we head out?
I almost couldn't get back now.
Chuck, say good night, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
Turn the camera back on now.
Thanks, man.
You guys did a great job.
Thank you, son, for us.